Hello everybody and welcome to the first of many, this is kind of like the sixth of many design videos here for a custom player card expansion that Beard are working on. We have 3 investigators that we've recently playtested and have made some slight adjustments to Seneca, as you can see here. If you don't know, he's discarding the ally instead. But we playtested Seneca, Delphine, and Moose, and we're going to design a card for each of them today. To kind of like fit with their kit to kind of build off of these as we get our player card expansion made. I think all these investigators were pretty solid. Moose especially so. He was actually surprisingly viable, and I think there were some cool discoveries we made. All of these investigators, we'll read what they do as we get into like actually looking at them, but they all have the same deck building where they're their main colors 0 to 5, and then they can splash level 0 of one of 2 other classes. So our goal today is to design one of these level 0 cards for each of these investigators. I think we should start with Seneca. Does that sound cool? Because we kind of had some sort of concept for Seneca.
Yep, let's do it.
All right. Seneca Rhodes, 3/4/2/3. Your ally assets have their cost reduced by 1. Forced, after you resolve an action, reaction, or lightning bolt ability on an ally, resolve that ability again, and then discard that ally. As Elder Design effect +0, you may play an ally from your hand. His splash is Rogue and Mystic, so we're going to design an ally for one of them. We were talking about how the play pattern for this guy, he felt most rewarding when there was an ally that we could play, and then I was able to like trigger his effect later. So for example, David Renfield or Gregory Gry. So I think that's kind of the thing that we're going to try to design here. An ally that can do a benefit from that it's not just like a lab assistant or a art student, that is just a reaction on play. And we had sorry, you go?
I was just going to say, then let's start with the Mystic ally.
Sure. I'd also be down to start with the Rogue one, just because we already have 2 Mystic cards, and we can throw a Rogue one in here.
True.
But we did have a brainstorm for a Mystic. All right, give me a player card, please. Asset. So I'm just gonna working title this one Mystic Seneca. We'll just call it that. All right.
Mystic Seneca makes it sound like some kind of object.
Yeah. So do you know what would be great? Do you want to pull up a piece of art as just like an inspiration? I work better like that. I'm a little bit like top down to build mechanical from that.
All right.
Also, I find it a lot easier. This is what a student said, where I like building around a piece of art because it's easier to do that than make the perfect thing and then find art for it. This is especially true for treacheries and like enemies. Less so for allies and items and stuff like that. Those there's a lot of those. Okay. It's a bit of a on the nose of a name. Yeah, I mean is this a bad name for for the ally, Seneca's pet? Is there a little bit too much of a horrible inference there that we don't want to really touch on? With that said, Beard and I before this talked about how we're gonna make this ally's gonna not be unique. It's gonna fit into like the laboratory assistant art student kind of vibe, where it has just a random person. Makes it a little bit more fun.
How's this one?
Yeah, that's great. All right.
Is the artist's name?
Awesome. I mean, we'll probably do some sort of like a stagehand. A stagehand, ally, and seeker would probably go hard for this this cycle. I imagine we'll want to do like a level like an ally in Mystic, Rogue, and Seeker that Seneca can play with this in this expansion. I think all of those would probably be pretty important for him.
Yeah, for sure.
This one, however, does not work in the theater. I mean, maybe she does. Maybe she's a weird costume artist or something. All right. All right. Now, here's a question, Beard. How clever do we want to get? Do we want to double dip and have this potentially work with someone else who has Mystic in their colors?
I guess that would be either Maxwell or Delphine.
Maxwell, Delphine. What does the Guardian have again? She has Survivor and Seeker, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Maxwell and Delphine. Let's get Maxwell up in here.
I don't know, just based on flavor, I think she would go better with Delphine.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Max. How close to theater was the thing Justin studied for? I did 2 years of theater, 2 years of film. Okay. So we know we need to have one of these, or one of these, or one of these on her.
So for the ability, she should probably have like 1 meat soak, 3 brain soak, and then scale something off of how much horror is on her.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I can make theater and film cards like it's nothing. Okay.
Seems clear that she should have some effect for after she leaves play.
Yep. Yep. A reaction.
Because that would work for both Maxwell and Seneca.
Yep. Yeah, no, it actually, so all this as well. It actually, so that we can make this work for Delphine. I mean, maybe not for Delphine. Maybe there's something that could be for Delphine on that, but it would work for Maxwell and Seneca. Yeah, you're 100% right.
Well, if she does something with Doom as well, you also want her to leave play, kind of like in an Arcane Initiate situation.
Yeah. But I guess the question that we need to consider with this, I mean, once we get the idea, how much do we want this to, like, what if it's like it's something where it's triggered but without defeating her? Is that possible?
Yeah.
Because like if it's like, I mean, let's just put down the base, the thing that I always start with, because it's the easiest thing to like gain 1 resource for each horror on her, right? Just to get like something out there. How much do we want that to be something that triggers by her just being defeated versus the idea of being clever and finding other ways to remove her from play that you can then get rewarded with? So like calling in favors, even potentially a hit and run, right?
Right. Or Maxwell's ability, which just discards an asset.
Yeah, exactly, right? Seneca has to work a little bit harder, but I mean, he can't use hit and run with her, but I mean, you could play another ally and then she leaves play, right?
Yeah. That's easy enough.
Yeah. So, What if it's like after leaves play by a player card effect?
Well, would you want to narrow it?
Well, the only thing is, I feel like if after she leaves play, or sorry, because if she just leaves play by being defeated, I think that might be a little bit too good, maybe, depending on what the effect we give her.
Honestly, it doesn't need to be big. It can be just draw a card or gain a resource for each horror on her.
I mean, that does still seem like... I mean, I guess what her cost will depend on that, but, like, that does seem like pretty good soak.
Yeah, like, give her 2 cost to start with. Maybe 3, if she's level 0 with 3 soak.
Yeah, this is just level 0 astute. And so I'm just trying to I'm trying to think of also like getting like a little bit weird with it, you know? I'm just trying to think a little bit there. What if it was like some sort of like search effect? Is twice the amount of horror. I'm trying to think of like something beyond just like, because I agree, card and resource is easy. I'm just trying to think of something a little bit funky, you know? Makes it a little bit more fun, a little bit more spicy.
Give me a sec. It's giving me the second ad break in 10 minutes.
Oh, sure. Thank you, Twitch. Oh, I also shared my screen with you on Discord too, if that makes it easier.
Will. Yeah, it definitely will.
I might still push an ad break through Discord on you, but it probably won't be a few in every 10 minutes. All right, after full names lease play.
Maybe choose X cards in your discard pile and shuffle them back into your deck.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because she is in a graveyard there.
She is in a graveyard. Choose X cards.
I guess up to X because...
Yeah. Discard pile. Deck. X is equal on. Let's play. Choose the back cards in your discard pile and shuffle them into your deck. X is equal to the amount of horror on full name. So I don't know about you, but one of my favorite things to do on cards is to add little bumpers. So let me just give you like an example. Is Doom, if there was draw a card. I love little bumpers like this. Just because to me, it makes me think, how do I get Doom on this? How can I get more value out of this card? And then I think, because then it potentially is building future synergies when we start doing the Doom cards in this cycle as well.
I'd say you can go further and just say if there was one or more Doom on them, add one of those cards to your hand instead of shuffling.
Let's do it. X cards. Okay. I also feel like we need to be a little bit responsible and do that as well. Choose up to X cards not named not named this card. You can't choose this card, like the anti-resourceful.
Right.
I like it. I mean, obviously we have to do the cost and like that stuff. Okay. Sorcerer, is that the trait that's commonly used most often? Oh, it's not here. Oh no, there's Sorcerer, yeah. I guess we could go Witch instead. Ally Witch. I like that, Astute. Do Witch. After name leaves play, choose up to X cards not named. Okay, let's now go to just Arkham build. And let's just look at Mystic Allies for where we feel like this should sit for stats versus cost. Because you said 2.
Well, I wasn't sure based on the ability, but don't forget to give her the ally slot.
Yes, of course. I also just... I think 2 might seem good. I just want to see the other things here. 3 might be fine, too. Soaks for 1. Soaks for 3. Olive is soaking for... Olive costs 2, and she soaks 1 and 3.
And then has her ability.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Give me ally slot, please. Where's that? That's slot. Ally. I think 2 cost is fine for us to try her out with, right? I think I like 2. Because you're right, like Olive has her whole ability on top of all that soak. And she does do nothing until you kill her. Or alternatively find other ways to play. Alright, what should we call her? Graveyard Ghoul?
No, she has no affiliation with Bill York.
Yeah. Can we call her something? Because it looks like the sun has just been finished setting. Like, you can call her like Twilight, not worshiper, but like someone who's up to no good, like before, like doing like weird culty things, you know?
Oh, you just call her like mortuary assistant or something like that.
I feel like she may be a little bit magic for that kind of look for me. Astute did have a great name, Coven Ritualist. That is a really good name. Coven Ritualist is really nice.
Yeah, it's fine with me.
Or Coven Ritualist if there's one more Doom on. Cool.
And maybe give her like a book icon. She's holding a book.
She is holding a book. Okay. So what I really like about her, for people at home, is that she works with Seneca because Seneca can trigger this ability and then recur some of his good allies, right? Maxwell can actually just discard her to trigger the ability, which is really cool. Delphine, while it doesn't have anything specifically on her, has less horror, but additionally, she also was going to potentially have the Doom stuff. So we might actually have like a try ally potential here.
Yeah, even if it's not for Delphine, just the Doom option makes it more attractive to existing mystics.
Yeah, exactly, right? What an interesting design. And that's why it's always good to start with a card or a resource and then ask, how do we get weird? Because I think this is a cool idea.
Also a good reason to start with the art.
Yeah, exactly, right? Okay. Well, I think mission accomplished for that first one. Why don't we then go to Delphine? Let's stay on this train.
She has
and
Guardian and Survivor.
So we want to do a Doom card for both of those, right? So why don't we start with one of those? How would we add Doom to her before we move on? That's the question that you need to answer.
And we can also just add more cards later on that add Doom to other cards.
Yeah. So that's the thing that's... Travis, actually, this is something he talks about all the time. One of the biggest problems with modern card design in games is that every card is its own engine and payoff. So you need cards that are not one of those things. So this card is an engine for recursion, but it doesn't pay off its own super recursion because you need to have something else to make that like recursion payoff actually happen.
Yeah.
It leads to healthier design in the long term if you have those kind of things.
Also just leaves you open to integrate with the game more, because if they add a card officially later on that adds Doom to something, then you can just roll this in.
Yeah. Because actually, if I'm curious, I'll go to thing now and I'll just look up Doom on the text. I can move that over here. We can at least take a little peek together as a team. Yeah, there's no current ways to add Doom to her in the actual pool. So we'll definitely be adding some to it. Apart from, of course, Marie Lambeau's ability. And also Amina Zidane's ability. So actually both of the Mystic Investigators have something that do it. Amina Zidane, anybody? Is it her day in the sun? No. And Damballa. Holy helicopter, you're right. And Damballa.
True. But then you'd be discarding Damballa, so...
Well... Doesn't he? Isn't he? Oh, no, that's right, because he has to leave. Yeah, he has to be attached for that to count. All right. Cool card.
That whole Amina bit was like, just kidding, unless...
Yeah. And also there are treacheries that add Doom on cards, too.
True.
All right. All right, Delphine, do you want to try to do a Guardian Doom card or a Survivor Doom card first? At level 0 is crazy.
I think a Guardian one would be nice. Like, not even on an asset you control, but like a Guardian card, maybe even like an Arcane asset, because I wasn't really using that much with her, where after Doom is placed on a card at your location, it can have some beneficial effect, or you can do something to help mitigate it.
Okay, yeah. Sounds good. Well, we know where we want to start. The art. I'll make the card. Oh, I guess I can also name this to a new card. This is the Coven Ritualist. I just had an epiphany. How does Sled Dog work with Seneca? Probably not well.
He's not good. He's not a dog person. He's a cat person.
Yeah. I'll look that up while you're trying to find just some sort of art. Let's look up Sled Dog. All right, action exhaust at Sled Dog, move up to X times. Oh, I think it would just trigger once, right? You'd be able to get 2 attacks or 2 moves out of it with the numbers that it would remember when it triggered, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty easy. Solve that problem.
But you'd still lose a dog.
Yep, the dog would go.
Not great value.
All right, we're doing a Guardian card. But then one dog blows up. Yeah, one dog does blow up. I mean, you know what? As I'm sure Beard agrees, as the designer of these investigators, we want people to dream big. So if you want to do Sled Dog Seneca, we support you.
The world is your oyster.
All right, so you said Arcane slot, right?
Yeah, I think that's a good place to start.
I'm just going to put the cost to, I think the cost is 0. I got name in. Tap 4 dogs to do 2 4 damage attacks, then 1 dog blows up. Yeah, that seems correct. Oh, is this an art drop? Oh, that's kind of cool.
I think that looks fairly Guardian-ish.
Man, I probably have to go through and rename these cards later because I just have this one. If I ever have to find the art again, this one's just called Guardian Doom. I mean, if I just do the class name, that's probably the class and then just something, that'll probably be okay. Yeah, that's good art. Can be just kind of like right in the middle. And then maybe down a little bit. Yeah, does that framing look good to you?
Yeah, I think so.
Cool.
You always love to see the more horizontal pieces for Arkham card art.
Yes, yes. It's actually great synergy with the dogs. I think it's what they were missing. Amen. Okay. So, who are our guardian? So we have, I think this one's going to, because this one's Doom focused, it's going to be a little bit harder to put into the other ones, but, you know, if there's a will, there's a way, right?
Vet and our Seeker. No, not our Seeker, our Rogue. Yeah, I guess it's
Rogue.
Maxwell. So
Okay.
Vet, Maxwell, and Delphine.
Well, luckily it's a asset, so that just synergizes with the guy no matter what, right?
True.
Solved. So Yvette, after you heal an investigator, the investigator gets +X to all skills or X's amount of damage and or horror healed. Interesting.
That seems clear enough direction where we can do like, after Doom is placed on a card at your location.
And if, yeah. An investigator can heal or something.
Yeah. That's at least good as a launching point.
Mm-hmm. Placed on an asset. Location. Exhaust. Location heals 1 or horror. That does seem really good. Chat,
also
are you
probably
telling me,
run
are we
this-
going to make an upgraded sled dogs in this cycle? Is that what I'm hearing from all of you?
Don't trap yourself.
After you must place an asset at your location, exhaust name, and investigate your location heals 1 damage or horror.
Honestly, even at that, I'd run it in Hellboy, since he's Guardian
Yeah.
with some Doom access.
Yeah. Oh my god, who let the dogs out event? Search the top 12 cards of your deck. Put all dogs in your hand. All card with
Back
dog
to
in the
Arkham
name.
rules.
Yeah. Location, exhaust name, and investor location heals 1 damage or horror.
I think that's fine to do without charges because it's contingent on the Doom.
Yeah, and also as we were talking about with Blood of Thoth, Doom that needs cards to make it work, you know? So like if the card seems good in Doom, that's probably okay because Doom is kind of missing those things because they put so many safety valves on them, you know?
I think it's honestly fun to just say when it's placed on a card at your location, like if you have a Doom enemy spawn on you.
Card at your location.
Because you can only, like at Exhaust, you can only use it once per round either way.
Yep. Okay, let me just do this for a second. I'm just going to check this out. Okay. I don't think we can get this to Amina, but that's okay. But I think we can easily also get this to Marie. By either just being a spell or a cult, right?
I guess it could be a spell, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Just now, what I'm doing, I like this. I think that I agree. I think this is working. Like, this is really good. I'm just trying to think of a bumper, you know, like something else that's like, what can we do to, if there's, is there a way to add a little flair to this card without making it too crazy? So, I don't know about you, but I'm okay with exploring a vast variety of different things, like different mechanics. And this is what, when I look at this art, this is what I, what this makes me think of what I see. After play. Like, that's just what this card, like, says to me. I don't know what it does for, like, actually, like, helping here, but that's just, like, the vibe I get, you know?
I think that's fair.
Now I just imagine Yvette at like she's just like on the front line and she's just like using this magic to heal people and everyone's like, what the hell? I think this is legit.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just thinking of names.
Sure. I also think we could do like a one or a flavor, a one line.
So this was the thing I was looking at. It's more of an object than a spell, but I think it's maybe fine to call it that still. It's basically a ward against the evil eye from Mideastern culture. So I guess it doesn't have the specific eye look.
Yeah, it does have a pretty distinct look.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, we could use this like we could go like something, not this, but like why no, like ward against, like, yeah, like against the evil eye, but like that kind of thing. I like the flavor of that, you know? Obviously more compact, but I think this is interesting. I like the flavor behind it, especially the idea of like the what it represents for Doom and like how you protect against that, right?
Yeah. All right, give me a sec here.
A Glimmer of Hope would be a great name. Damn, FFG stole it from us. After Doom is... Yeah, no, it is true. It probably would have been like, after Doom is placed on a card location, exhaust name, put 2 blesseds in. Honestly, that actually also would probably be pretty sweet.
I mean, we could just make this bless focused. It doesn't have to heal. But
no, I think the healing's great. I think the healing's awesome. Because what I like about the healing is it also, Yvette might run it, right? And if she doesn't, we can maybe then give her a few reasons that Bless can be a payoff on like 1 or 2 cards. We don't need to have Bless be an entire thing, right? Because we don't have the constraints that they do officially, right?
Let me look something up real quick.
Sure. Doom Lord. Chad, you guys see what I see? Between these two synergies already, we could potentially pop off a little bit here. So, chat, my gut tells me that this should be like 2.5 in its cost. And I feel like it's a round upper situation. Because I think it's pretty comparable to Hallowed Chalice, and that costs 3, right? It does. Yeah, I think 3 is probably good for this. I'll tell you what, it works really well with Hallowed Chalice.
True.
That's a good point, too, Astute. Bless cards are usually costly because of Rite of Sanctification, so yeah. I think 3 feels really good for this. And I just threw a brain on it. I feel like a willpower is probably fine for commit. I think naming things is so hard. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's tricky. For sure. The Chalice and the Fighty one feel overpriced. Yeah, I think that's fair. You're right, because of the charms costing 3 because of Amina. I still think 3 feels right for this card, especially because it also adds 2 Bless tokens. If it didn't, 2 would probably be fine, but I think I'd pay 3 for this effect in a Doom-centered deck for sure. Because, I mean, like, in that Delphine deck you just playtested, this would heal you 1 horror, like 1 damage and horror each turn, and you'd feel a lot less tight on that kind of thing, right?
Absolutely.
All right, Stu, what would you call this one? I know Beard's working on finding a name too. I'm just waiting on that, but I was just making conversation, filling space, because if there's silence, I start to panic. Peter Sylvester costs 3 and he regens every turn for 1, so it fits. Yeah, that's another good baseline too. Also, I should probably make sure that writing is right. It's good. Man, it would be funny if the Stu's just, while I told him to name something, he's panicking. He's just like, like, the butt light. They're like, what? No. I'm cooked. Yeah, I figured as much. It's a hard one. I'm telling you right now, though, whenever you put this is why I try not to give like a placeholder title, and I just go with like name, because I'm telling you, Ward Against the Evil Eye, I'm like, that's working for me now.
Hmm.
So yeah, she's not gonna have a lot of ways to take advantage of the Doom, but that's okay. Yeah, like we could put Ward Against the Evil Eye in the subtitle for sure, but I also don't like the new design team. They're very high on the subtitles and like the flavor of that those subtitles can bring, but I don't really like they don't. I feel like using them less makes them more impactful, you know? Because this card's not unique, and I feel like if it has the subtitle, it should be unique, or alternatively, obviously different functions, like different modes of the same card. But that's just like my preference. That's just my preference.
I'm getting somewhere. I just need to read a little more here.
Sure, sure. Yeah, yeah, no worries. Tilhoi Lathmach Ho Chul. Ward Against the Evil Eye and Klingon. There we go. This is a casual day-to-day miracle spell slinging healing, sure. Yeah, 100%. You get it. Let me know when I can tell you a potential idea I think we should explore with this.
You can tell me now. I'm just
okay. Sure, just don't.
Building through these definitions.
So what if we make it like if we can make it work for one of each of these off-class cards for an investigator. So like for example, this one in Delphine. It doesn't have to be this one necessarily, but what if we also design an upgraded version in their main class color?
Oh, kind of like how Holy Rosary changed classes as it upgraded.
Yeah. And I think that could be cool because then there's also something that like they could stay with the level 0 or they could use it as like a future build around for their deck as well.
That could work. Something to consider.
Mm-hmm. The only thing is I do think cross-class upgrades are really tricky to pull. And I think that's why they do it as little as they can. But we should definitely, I think it'd be a fun idea to explore. Moose.
So the best one I could find was this term, which basically means a miracle from God.
Oh no, those letters aren't coming in.
I just have to use the base A's.
All right, I'm down for that. To Karamat and just play, add 2 blessed tokens. Doom is placed on the card of your location, exhausted, investigate location, heals 1 damage or 1 horror.
Miracles of divine power that arises in the soul to exercise influence. It's supported by the Spirit of God, sorcerer. Let's see. Yeah, so basically, this is still the sorcerer's work, but it's because of the gift that it's able to work rather than by invoking Jinn or devils or what have you.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna go to the source for a second. And all right, so I wanted the flavor text to kind of do that, protected by a divine gift, but I wanted to do a different word for divine. And I think
Well, you could say, I don't know, divine providence.
by an eternal watch.
Just by providence. Protected by providence.
1 second. The only thing I'm just trying to take, like, because Providence is a bit more God. I know this is God. I'm trying to just make it be a little bit more not God and just like general, just for the flavor, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Watched.
Maybe just something like you have been chosen for good or ill.
By good, for good, or for good.
Or good or ill.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Comma after chosen, because it's kind of like a separate.
Ah, I get you. Yeah. All right. Any thoughts on the 3 and the 3 cost and the 1 brain? I feel like that seems pretty all right to me. Does that seem good to you?
That seems okay to me.
Okay.
Because if you're running it in a deck, you presumably are going to be playing with Doom.
Yep.
Or are using it as a tech card for a scenario with a lot of Doom, like Midnight Masks.
Yep. Okay. Moose's turn.
So, Seeker or Rogue?
Seeker or Rogue? So I think the thing that I enjoyed the most from you playing him was finding ways to make the basic move action better by, like, canceling attack of opportunities or things like that. That was the most interesting thing I saw from that deck.
I'd agree. That was the most fun part I had. So, do you think there should be some sort of... Honestly, when I was building him, I couldn't really find a good accessory slot item for him, so maybe an accessory slot item built around movement.
I was thinking also some sort of I like that one, the event you played that gave you like +2 as well. Like an accessory slot probably would be good. We probably want to give one of those for him for sure.
But yeah, we can also just do an event if you're acid it out.
No, I could do an acid. I'm just trying to think of what to also separate it from like obfuscation, you know?
Right. So I think it's like something about after you move or after you take a move action.
I'm just thinking also something like that specifically calls out attacks of opportunity, you know?
Or just, like, do you want it to be an attack of opportunity specifically? Because there's already a good bit of that in Rogue that we could build off of.
That's what I'm thinking. Like a rogue thing that cares about attack of opportunity, right? In an accessory slot is interesting. Kind of like the reverse of the riot whistle, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll get a rogue thing in here. Oh, I guess I should also rename this one. Okay, let's just do like a... Let me also just look at this quickly. Give me some game text, please. Yeah, in a row. Because there's that one event that you played. That's one. Yeah, the narrow escape.
Should you specify even if that attack was canceled? Because I know there's a couple things like Danielle's ability that specify that.
Yeah, probably worth it. Let me just look at the exact wording on that. We can leave it as canceled right now, but we can see as we do as things shape up. When an enemy makes an attack of opportunity against you, even if that attack was canceled, exhaust name. So you start simple, and then you go from there. Let me just look at Maxwell again, too. He would want to use the book. When an enemy makes an attack of opportunity against you, even if that attack was canceled. Maybe a combat or agility test if you pass something. Like you're just trying to shrug off the guy's attack. Interesting.
Well, they do have that as an event already. It's quick getaway.
Yeah.
I was thinking more like that enemy gets -1 damage and -1 horror until the end of the round. So if you can tank one attack from the guy, then you can tank a lot more from him too.
Interesting. I like that. The only thing is that might work better Survivor as opposed to Rogue.
True.
But that is a very nice idea for a Survivor design, you know? Mind wipe them? That's really interesting from a mystic perspective as well. That could actually be a sick card. When an enemy attacks you, makes an attack opportunity against you, mind wipe them until the end of the round, like the end of the round. That's kind of neat. Okay, what I'm gonna just do is I'm going to. I think we should strike where the irons are. We're just gonna grab. I'm gonna make a survivor version of that idea as well. Because I think your idea is really nice. It just feels a bit more survivor than rogue, you know?
Yeah.
Especially because we could actually make this like football equipment, you know?
Good point.
Is it damage value or just damage?
Just -1 damage and -1 horror.
When an enemy makes an attack of opportunity against you, exhaust name. That enemy gets -1 damage and -1 horror until the end of the round.
No, because it'd be after.
I guess we could call this after. Would that change make it more clear for the timing window?
Oh, I thought it was after already.
Oh, no, it was when, so it should be after, yeah. Name.
I'd say after, because otherwise it'd be too easy to trigger.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely also intended after. I don't... Me and timing windows in this game are the least acquainted thing in the world. Makes attack of opportunity against you, exhaust name. That enemy gets -1 damage and -1 horror until the end of the round. We probably... Damn Next is right. We probably should specify to a minimum of 0.
Yeah.
Okay, I really like this. Last name. It's -1 damage, -1 until the end of the round to a minimum of 0. I also just feel like my game designer sense is tingling.
Yeah.
The round to a minimum of 0. Yep. Okay. And it's just some sort of football gear. Football pads, like, can we get, like, something like that?
You just need the helmet.
Helmet, oh, yeah. All right, chat. And what I'm currently doing as well is... Sorry?
I think you can crop this so the signature isn't in there, but here's a piece by Merv Corning.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, that's great.
And notably, you can still wear a mask with it.
Yeah.
The background is white, so you can probably zoom out a little if you need to.
Yeah. Just give me like a 50. Let's. Oh my god. Just give me this mode. We will need to extend it if we want to zoom out. Just because of the grain.
It's not too bad because it's solid color.
Yeah.
I can extend it for you if you need.
Yeah, I could probably extend it too. I can do that. I'll make a note.
I mean, I can do it like right now.
Oh, sure. Yeah, do it right now. Go for it. Okay. And I think I do still like to ask, can we add a little bumper on this? And I think I'm going to make it, I think I want to make it soak for one damage.
That's pretty good.
I also, like, even though, yes, this should commit for, like, not this symbol, I feel like it has to commit for a willpower because it's a head.
That is entirely fair.
Technically, not a lie. Technically, it is armor.
Bruiser value, let's go.
Kill it with City of Secrets? You know it. Can we secret pocket it and Lonnie it? Do the clothing synergies we usually work with armor too? I don't think so. No, it can work with armor. It can work with armor. It won't work with Lonnie though, because Lonnie has to heal the damage and this can't. Unless...
Here, try this.
Yeah, that'll work.
Just have to shift it down below the shoulder there.
I like that.
That's probably fine.
Yeah. I think even though like it's a little bit weird with the head, I think the helmet is the focus, yeah. Football helmet. I can't think of a better name.
Yeah, good enough.
What's cost do you feel?
2.
Yep, that's where I was too. Great, that's a great card.
Locked in. Fund it. We'll have to make cross-class cards for Moose later. This was just too easy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still down to do the rogue one. I'm down to do one more.
Okay.
That football one just was like a gift from the heavens, you know?
Does it need to be accessory for the football helmet then?
I like it for accessory.
Because I'm just thinking of like the masks not being accessories. And then you'd have to say like limit 1 per investigator.
Yeah, I think I personally like the accessory. I like the accessory as like that slot that's kind of just for like the random thing. I think slotless for me personally is a little bit too scary.
Especially because I think Survivor has like more slotless stuff than any other class.
Yeah. I also think because, like, for example, like with Will York, I think he would want to play. I think like most survivors would want to play this, like Daniela, especially if they recursion too. I think probably accessory slot at least limits it a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
I also think you're right. A whole helicopter. I'm also going to put in agility because it is a foot, head and foot. We made a little man right here. Okay. All right. Back to this. Maybe we do an event for this one then. Let's do an event. So I'm gonna just delete this one.
Okay, this is completely not related, but I need to send you this because you just said head and foot making a man.
That's great. That is so funny. -1 damage and -1 horror is a good amount of enemies. It is. It is. But I like the theory, right? You're basically just turning off their first. You're basically just doing their attack in your turn as opposed to the enemy phase. But it allows you to potentially do more with it, right?
Yeah. Especially if just like, well, I need to move 3 times. Let me reduce his damage for the other 2.
Yep.
And then not worry about him in the enemy phase, exactly.
Okay. A rogue event for our boy Moose.
Honestly, if it's a level 0, does it need to be that robust? Does it just be play only if you were engaged with an enemy move?
Yeah. I also had this in my mind too. Like location. So it was kind of like the idea of like a pick up and go, right? Like you can like you can grab an enemy and then come back or like go to another location. Obviously worse than the that one we have now, the scout ahead, but like that was kind of like the space I was thinking for this.
How about, since this is a rogue thing, it's like move to a connecting location, you may disengage with an enemy you're engaged with, then move to a connecting location, like you're giving them the slip.
Yeah.
Like you're basically just moving to a location and then back again, but dumping an enemy off at another location. Still ready, so you haven't evaded him. But...
Yeah. Move to a location, you may disengage the non-enemy engage with you. Move to a connecting location.
Yeah, so it's not as... You don't get up to 3 like Scout Ahead gives you.
Yeah.
But you get the extra utility.
Yeah, yeah. And also, it's nice with this because Moose flips it on its head, right? Where he's like, no, I'll take him with me, you know?
Yeah, because it's the you may.
Yeah. I really like that. I think also realistically this card could cost 0.
I think so, because How much does Scout Ahead cost?
It costs 1, so it's 1 less than Scout Ahead.
Yeah. And it doesn't cancel attacks of opportunity, so...
Yeah. Zone cover, that is pretty sick. I'll put that in there for now, depending on what art we find, of course, because the art's going to dictate a lot.
Yeah, I'm looking now. Also, you could also just call it, like, give them the slip.
Yep. Yeah, if we don't want to do something football related. Let's go with the classic rogue 1-2 punch of tactic trick. Hard to go wrong with those two traits. This also
I guess it
provokes
also depends on flavor if it gets tactic or not.
That is true, yep. This also provokes attacks opportunity if you start with the enemy, but doesn't provoke them if you pick them up mid-resolve, yeah, 100%. What an interesting set of cards. Let's look back over them while Beard looks for art. Memories. Coven Ritualist. After it leaves play, choose up to X cards not named Coven Ritualist in your discard pile and shuffle them into your deck. X is equal to the amount of horror on Coven Ritualist. If there is one or more doom on Coven Ritualist, add one of those cards to your hand instead. That's cool. Karamat, after enters play, 3-cost asset. After enters play, add 2 Blessed tokens to the Chaos Bag. As a reaction, after Doom is placed on a card at your location, exhaust Karamat. An investigate location, heals 1 damage or 1 horror. Primo. Football Helmet, this one's a banger. You might remember it from a few minutes ago. 2-cost asset, takes up the accessory slot, soaks for 1. As a reaction, after not only an enemy makes an attack of opportunity against you, exhaust Football Helmet, that enemy gets -1 damage, -1 horror until the end of the round to a minimum of 0. I'm just going to follow Scout Ahead and probably just give 2 agility icons to this for commit.
That seems reasonable. Because if you don't want to move like that, then you'll want to just get away from him.
Yep. Also nice for Moose because he does have the 3-foot, which is good.
Yeah, I really put his foot to work in that test.
You did, yep. And then also, like, if it ain't broke, right? Scout Ahead's, I think, perfectly reasonable. And this is like basically just an alternate Scout Ahead.
Where is that? Or, I know I've saved a picture that I want, but it's a question of where did I put it?
Where it exists.
Maybe I used it in the card already.
Moose.
Yeah, I think I did use it in the card already. Dang. Oh well. Time to look for other options.
Yeah, that's going to be very interesting to even play test for her stat line. Very support focused.
For sure.
Maybe if a day lines up and Daniel can join us, we could do like a three-player test and try Yvette in that environment too. Nice. Holy helicopter, that's great. It's time for you to sign some contracts, is what I'm hearing. You had newer cycles though, right? Like you have Hemlock. You've had Hemlock for a while, I assume. Because I will say Faustian Bargain hits different when you haven't had like good economy before, and economy has been pretty good since, like, obviously Innsmouth on, for rogues anyway. Yeah, we skipped Dream Eaters and Innsmouth. Yeah, I mean, if you got Hemlock and like if you got like Edge of the Earth, your economy hasn't been hurting. That's like the big thing about Faustian. Like Faustian obviously is still very good economy, but like economy has gotten so much better since the early days.
Well, this one's not perfect, but I think it'll do.
Nice.
But there's not a whole lot of 1920s football art out there, so.
Yeah. I mean, also just the idea of finding art of someone moving.
Yeah, just finding this guy was already a stretch.
Yeah.
I think it's fine to keep tactic because he's got the gun in hand.
Yes, yeah. Also, anytime I can give Mark Harrigan a new tactic, it's a good day.
Or maybe something like shake him off.
I do think that 21 or Bust is a non-meme economy card. I think it's actually very playable. It's just it changes the risk assessment with it.
Absolutely.
Where like if you are playing 21 or Bust as your only economy, you're less likely to try to go for 21. If you aren't playing it for your only economy, you're more likely to go to 21 or try to go for 21. I want to go with something like, for the flavor text, like Ghoul's got a mouthful of teeth, but a brain full of bricks. But like, give me a bigger line break between that, I think.
Maybe shift that down a bit.
Just VS is on the bottom of this, right?
No, just like 5 or 10 in the spacer between the
Oh, okay.
2 sections.
Not 50, no!
Ah! It's
Yeah.
horrible. It looks like a Yu-Gi-Oh card.
I think 5 looked nicer. Let's go with a head full of bricks.
I'm trying to think of other ones. There's like, I forget what it's from. It's like, leave them hungry for more. That quote's fine.
Okay, I think we nailed this today. I like all these designs.
You'll have to include these cards in our next playtest.
Yes, for sure.
Well, playtest after the next playtest, because we'll probably go for the 2 ones we didn't play.
Yeah, we probably want to try Yvette and Maxwell before we do that, and then we can start going from there.
Sure.
But super exciting these level 0 cards are fun to design, and I think it's fun to like take an investigator and like try to see how they can work for others. I think it's more likely to work for obviously like assets, right? And there are some that like I can't really see. Who's our other survivors? Like it's Yvette
and Delphine.
Like I could see Delphine in a world playing the football helmet.
Because I did soak attacks of opportunity during our...
Exactly, right? Like, I could see it, but that one is a little bit more for Moose. I think Coven Ritualist is, like, our biggest success in terms of the cross-investigator thing. But I think they're all great cards for all of them.
Yeah, she was the one where we got the biggest combo on, while still keeping her on flavor.
Yeah, exactly. Sweet. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this. Look forward to another one of these coming up in a few weeks' time on YouTube. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Have a good one. And as always, a GG's.